I don't want to pirate good anime. I genuinely want so I don't mind stealing a shitty chocolate bar. No one's gonna miss a shitty chocolate bar. But for a Hershey's, or a fucking a peanut butter cup, yeah, I'll pay for that. It's worth it because I want that business to continue.
Well, my issue is something like Crunchyroll. I hate Crunchyroll because they've actually actively censored anime, so I don't support them. That's why I pirate.
That is a problem. No matter what.
Yeah, it's why I stopped supporting Funimation, and when they were still around, it's like, oh, so you've actively censored anime, and all your actors are a bunch of weird shitheads, and what you did to Vic. Fuck it, I'm stealing your content.
The anime industry is kind of I don't know what's worse, the anime industry, the gaming industry, or just journalism in general.
But more importantly, I also say fuck the actual Japanese studios themselves. You barely pay your animators anything. You treat them like shit. You have a toxic work culture, so I'm not going to give you money either, because fuck you. So that's why I pirate.
We're live.
Oh, hi.
A bit of heated discussion, but you did miss the point where Jake did just confess his undying love to Wyatt, so there's that. But anyway, that's a whole different story. Hello, everyone. This is a stream, apparently, where we're going to be discussing, and not necessarily just taking down, but we're going to put to rights the creator, or inverted brackets creator, Steve Chives, where there's been a recent video come out, short film called something random number, which apparently is a thing in canon. Unification, Star Trek, one of the best things that we've seen in 20 years, I guess. So here I am discussing this with Wyatt from Yarp. Yes, another editing podcast. What is it called again?
You can do it. Yet another response podcast, and also I love how you keep calling him Steve Chives when it's Steve Shives.
To be quite honest with you, when I first put the video up and everything, I did spell it CH instead of SH. So yeah, I'm apparently professional and really good at doing this. Hello, Jake.
Hi. I am Jake the Surgeon, spelled with an EN, because I can't spell.
So, anyway, the two guys here, if you like what they say, their channels are going to be in the description of this video. Now, down to it. So, I'm just going to bring a watch together, because we're going to do this e-fapping style, if anyone knows what they are. So hopefully this works. Yes, it does. Yeah, so in essence, Steve Shives has, from what everyone has been saying about it, he's kind of got this hot take, which we're going to go through, that apparently it's just fan wank, and just there to go for the fans, which we are the paying customers, so why not? Anyway, let's go with this.
We're a few weeks past Thanksgiving as I shoot this, so maybe the sentiment is slightly out of date, but do you know something I'm thankful for as a Star Trek fan? I'm thankful this current production era of the franchise began before the studio saw a bunch of Trekkies losing their minds online over this shit. Just in case you've never seen it before, that's a clip from a short film titled Unification.
Seriously? He's immediately going on the offensive and calling it a piece of shit. People, we're normally on that crowd of when something isn't that good, it's oh, people are losing their minds over a piece of shit. But it's this is a rare W in the sense that it's both something people love and is good.
To be fair, people also lost their minds at the time at Star Trek Undiscovered Country, Wrath of Khan, that kind of shit. So, yeah, if something's good, they're going to talk about it.
Well, yeah. Also, Steve's lips aren't as moist as I'm used to. This is strange.
Stop.
No, never.
Weird how you keep pointing. It's weird how you keep pointing that out.
Because it's like in Austin Powers 3, where it's mole. I want to chop it up and make a guacamole.
Also, who starts a conversation off like
Me.
Produced by Otoy and the Roddenberry Archive under a license from Paramount with the participation of both William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy's estate. It was released on YouTube a few weeks ago to coincide with the 30th anniversary of the theatrical release of the film Star Trek Generations, and it has since garnered over 3.5 million views, and its comment section is filled with people gushing about how wonderful it is and how it made them cry and how grateful they are to the people who made it. Trekkie Podcast.
It's a little bit more involved with that. There are people saying that it's actually really helped them with their acceptance of death and grief and people they've lost. So yeah, it's a little bit more than that.
Oh yeah,
And-
this unironically kind of helped me really I don't know what the right words other than, like, especially without just sounding like a fucking weirdo, because I'm a fan. I didn't personally know the man, but it's like this helped me actually sort of get over Leonard Nimoy's passing, because I didn't think about it until I had watched that, and I thought about like Star Trek Beyond. It's like, man, I as a fan never really said my goodbyes to Leonard Nimoy.
And also it just, well, we'll probably be getting into it a bit more as the video goes on, but just to play my hand just a little bit. It also just does this neat thing, this thing that fans will always like, is that it shows respect to what came before.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, if anyone hasn't seen Unification, in which case don't watch the stream right now, go watch that and then come back here. You'll see that. Well, also people who have seen Star Trek Generations will know how Kirk ended, and it's a complete and utter disrespect there. He was literally just so that Kirk and Picard be in the same place, and they actually admitted it. They just wanted to kill off Kirk. And this is something that basically gives not only Spock, because he had his own issues in the way that his off-screen death was depicted, that this gives him some semblance of, well, at least the fans, some semblance of, what do you call it when things end?
Closure.
Closure, that's it. And basically the respected ends that they kind of deserve, because they're the guys who got the party started. Kind of thing. But yeah, anyway.
Podcasters and streamers and YouTubers, even some who have had nothing positive to say about any recent Star Trek project, have praised
It hasn't been good.
Yeah.
The majority of it, from my understanding, has been really bad. I mean, like, I hear Strange New Worlds is at the very least tolerable.
I personally don't like its complete tonal shifts, but that's kind of because I'm kind of over, like, on a subjective level, I'm kind of over the like Monster of the Week style storytelling. I kind of really do just want a serialized story.
Yeah, so Star Trek Strange New Worlds was kind of an answer to a lot of people kind of complaining about the fact that this Discovery era was serialized, so they tried to do something a little bit more episodic. The problem is when you have all this streaming stuff where most things are like 8 to 10 episodes, unless you're really good at what you do, it's not really going to make too much sense to make things episodic, because there's only like 8 to 10 episodes as opposed to like DS9, TNG, etc. They had a full 7 seasons of like 23 or 25 or something like that episodes per season.
Yeah.
In that case, you can do a lot of episodes. There were a lot of bad ones, a lot of great ones, but if you're going to do a through line, then you got loads of time to kind of do filler if you wanted to explore different things. With 8 to 10 episodes, very difficult to do that if you want to do an overarching story.
Also, not every episode of Star Trek was a week-to-week monster type deal. Not only because of the two-parters, but because of major events that still had consequences within the world and would have instances of serialization, such as Measure of a Man, which acknowledges 3 season 1 episodes all in one go. The death of Tasha Yar, the fact they shared an intimate moment while they were all drunk off the star.
Mm-hmm.
Like
And the best of both worlds, where you also got the thing where Picard goes back home, deals with that, carries on in freaking Emissary, where Picard was in it, and had to deal with the repercussions of Starfleet officers not liking the fact that he freaking killed families, which they shouldn't have been on starships anyway, but that's beside the point. Point is, it wasn't just, again, as you say, the baddie of the week. There were certain things that had consequences that could be felt throughout the season.
Yeah. So
This
that's why we kind of I just don't like what's happening with New Trek. The problem wasn't with Discovery was not the fact that it was serialized. The problem was that it was a bad show.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
when it did have member bearers in it and stuff, like Picard season 1 was mostly going off the idea of Measure Man, but how it felt was, oh yeah, just let's just look up Measure Man, let's just get a synopsis of that and then make a whole season about it.
Sheer
also-
fucking hubris.
Yeah. Like sheer fucking hubris was why on earth? Just why?
Oh yeah, Star Trek needs to be violent and have lots of cursing. We need to have 7 of 9 be a drunken, depressed lesbian. Like, what happened to Chakotay?
Yeah.
Well, not even that. Also, like we have like people doing drugs and vaping and saying like, "Oh, you live here on your vineyard." It's like, the acquisition of wealth and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff that the Federation is known for having. You wouldn't need to have that vape. You wouldn't need to worry about living in a fucking shack because you could just make your home bigger.
The thing is, I
You
can
have
forgive the whole depressed.
replicators.
I can forgive the whole depressed lesbian thing for 7 of 9, just purely because it was 20 years later. Bear in mind, when you're on Voyager, that's like 7 to 10 years, right after. Sorry, actually no, it's more like 4 or 5 years after she was out of the collective, and she was only starting to really develop a personality at the end because she had the thing removed where she can actually feel feelings now. Now, fast forward 20 years after that, which is about 3 to 4 times longer than she was on Voyager, you can kind of take in the fact that her personality develops a hell of a lot more after. So she's going to try new things. She might become miserable, or she might become really optimistic. You can do anything with her in about that amount of time.
The issue is that it came off as mean-spirited. Like, hey, this character you liked? Well,
Yeah.
she's fucking depressed. And yeah, she was with this one dude. Well, no, she's gay now. She's gay and lame.
The problem I found was just that they inserted her into something that didn't make sense. She'd be more connected to anyone in Voyager than just, like, get with Picard.
Yeah.
beautiful, precious work that exemplifies what Star Trek is all about, and I just... Okay, before I say all the things I'm about to say, let me say this. If you watched this short film and it meant something to you, I think that's great.
No, fuck off. I am so fucking sick of that. I'm so sick of this. Like, if you liked it, then good for you. It's like, yeah, it's like subjective fucking opinion. I don't give a shit if you validate it or not, asshole.
Yeah, it's also like, oh yeah, if you like it, fine, but then that basically in his mind gives a free ticket of, now I can just shit over all the reasons that you like it.
Well, yeah, it's literally like the...
It's a shield.
Yeah, it's the opinion shield. It's like saying, well, this is just my opinion. It's like, I mean, it says the person doesn't know the definition of an opinion, but that's maybe a different conversation. But honestly, I just don't like when people say that. If you got meaning out of it, that's great. It's like, I mean, you don't mean that.
You don't think it means the fact that you got meaning out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's who these fucking people are.
Yeah. It's like, for once I want to see someone, even if their take is terrible, just say, if you got meaning out of this, I don't care. And then just move on.
No, I want even further. I want somebody to just outright be hostile. If you got meaning out of this, fuck you. It's shit.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Following his death as seen in Generations, being transported through time and across universes to be at the deathbed of Spock. And I've seen a lot of people who connected with it on that basis, saying it reminded them of a death in their family, or it made them wish they could have had such a farewell moment with a loved one of theirs who died, or it makes them hope that when their time comes, their friends and family will be with them the way Kirk is with Spock. And that's really deep personal stuff. And if you
Yeah, and if he were to just stop there and say that is why this is probably one of the greatest things to come out of Star Trek in a very long time, then that would be great. What you don't do is acknowledge that and then say, well, this is why it was actually shit. And then completely disregard all of the things before what he said there.
Mm-hmm.
Importantly, even if he's removed that, it's literally like, oh hey, so you know how the shit ending that Kirk got and how Spock kind of died off screen because Leonard Nimoy died between movies, I believe it was.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
in Star Trek Beyond, the movie in which that acknowledges Ambassador Spock's passing, and it's only kind of used for like a conversation. Like it's used for a deep character moment for that Spock, but it's like
Yeah, but there's no
at the
like,
same time,
there's
like
no connection to the Spock that is in that universe because he doesn't know about all the events. He doesn't have that connection, so it's meaningless to him. All he knows is that there's another version of himself that's just died, but he doesn't have any of the. He doesn't feel or see what the audience knows.
yeah, it's more used as a stepping stone for his idea of like Vulcans need to like repopulate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come here, Uhura.
for that reason, or shit, for any other reason. I'm not trying to tell you you're wrong for liking it.
But you are.
Yes, you are.
It's
You
all
are
a
good. You're
matter
gonna
of-
do that, yeah.
It's exactly what you do in this video. You're telling people that you shouldn't like it.
Or honestly, just say I don't give a shit if you like it. This shit's terrible. Like just do that. That's what I do. It's like
Don't just
you
do
like
the
it. I don't
preamble.
care. Yeah.
taste, like what you like. As for me,
Well, I don't like you, Steve. How about that?
I did not like it. I don't like it
Okay.
for what it is, and
Then he has spent what 2 minutes and 18 seconds saying, oh yeah, I get why you might like it. He should have just started it here and says, by the way, I didn't like this and this is why.
So he didn't like it for what it is, and what it is, at the very least, from what I gather, a respectful send off to the. Let's be honest, probably the two most important characters in the series.
Yeah, like when
At
you
least from
really,
a fan perspective.
Yeah.
I kind of actually thought about this, like, because it also kind of like this fan film is probably going to get a lot more viewings when William Shatner himself passes, because oddly enough, like when we were watching this, I started thinking, if you watch like pretty much most of just Star Trek in general, we have seen Kirk in almost every phase of his life, and
Yeah.
even counting the JJ stuff, we've seen him as a child. We saw him the day he was born. Yeah, it's an alternate universe, but it's still the totality of James Tiberius Kirk. And we've seen him as a kid. We saw him as the captain aboard the Enterprise, exploring strange new worlds and to boldly go where no man has gone before. To the wise admiral who teaches like cadets the meaning of life and death, and who must then face that own scenario, the no-win scenario in Wrath of Khan, getting his friend back in Star Trek 3, finding the meaning of his own meaning when he comes back to the Federation in Star Trek 4. Like the whole recent Generations feels like a kind of a disrespectful thing to Kirk, is because you have Picard meeting Kirk only for him to just go help me fight Sauron, and then he just dies, and he doesn't have a proper funeral. Picard just buries him under some rocks, and as SF Debris said, that'll take the Coyotes like maybe a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the good thing about not necessarily unification, even though it's you can see a split second thing there, but there's another version of this video where obviously Spock tells Starfleet and Picard tells Starfleet, and Spock comes along and probably takes the body for a proper burial, which is great. But that's because in Generations, Kirk died alone, and it went back to the whole Star Trek 5 thing where he knows that he's going to die because he's going to be alone. If he has his friends with him, he'll be okay. And the whole thing about the ending of Unification is that they're both now going to be okay together.
Yeah, and it's, of all the things for Kirk to do as he passes through the afterlife, is to see his best friend one last time and to help him as they go on that next adventure in the afterlife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The friendship between Kirk and Spock, like when you really think about it, from the original series through the movies and even mentions the Next Generation, like they had a friendship that I think I don't know if I've seen a better friendship in all of the media I've observed.
Yeah,
Specifically in live action.
Such a good friendship that they even tried to replicate it in Star Trek First Contact, which made absolutely no sense. It should have been Geordi. But anyway, that's a different story.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the complete and utter blasphemy how Kirk died, and this is the thing that sets that right. It's simple as that. Literally as simple as that.
And I don't like it for what it represents as far as the future of Star Trek, not to mention film and television overall, if this sort of thing becomes more common. Why don't
like, so if you're worried about like member berries is already a fucking thing. Deadpool 3 made over $1 billion, and it's just a member berry clusterfuck. But what this short film is not a member berry clusterfuck. It's literally just like everything within it makes sense. Like Kirk, he's dead, and he's seeing a bunch of people that were like close to him or that he knew who are probably also, I would assume, dead. He then goes to the one alien that can travel through universes. That alien allows him to travel to the Calvin universe where Spock is on his deathbed, and it allows him to be with him. That's not member berries.
Yeah, it's just a continuation of the story.
Like, member berries is like introducing Jennifer Gardner's Elektra, forgetting that she had like any powers, and then having her just kind of be like, yeah, Daredevil's dead. I don't really care. Because Jennifer Gardner and Ben Affleck had like a bad real life divorce, instead of acknowledging that they actually loved each other in the movie or whatever.
Well, I mean, is it a bad divorce when they keep getting back together every 20 minutes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because
it makes the divorce
Rachel.
Worse.
I was on a break.
But no,
Oh,
like, I don't know. It's like, if the future of the franchise is respecting what came before, then I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, in fact, like one could say Star Trek fans are eating actually a bit better than Star Wars fans, because we never got the original trio back, and you like, I don't know why I'm addressing this like as if I'm like Mayo is the representative of like Star Trek fans. Like, well, you guys got Picard season 3.
Yeah. Oh no, I agree. We got Picard season 3. We got the Enterprise crew on the on the original Enterprise D. And when I say Enterprise D, I do mean the pre-Generations D, which God knows why they did that. With all the extra consoles and all that kind of stuff, and the raised platform for the captain seats and everything. It was as it was on TNG. That was phenomenal. They even went to the point where I think it took them about 6 months to get the freaking carpet right, which, yeah, that's the joke within the show. But they really did put the work in, and it wasn't like another end of series where Picard's an arsehole. It's bringing everyone together to support their freaking, I don't know whether you call Picard a father figure to them or what, but supporting his freaking friend to give him the right send off, especially with what happened at the end of Nemesis, where freaking Data died. It was just a really bad, somber ending, and they put that right again. They did what they should, what they could. It wasn't even a case of couldn't do. They could have quite easily put Han, Leia, and Luke freaking together, just even in one scene, and they wouldn't do it. It's not like they couldn't.
Well, that's why that pisses me off so much as an old EU fan. There's no amount of turmoil and strife in the galaxy that can separate the Skywalkers.
Yeah. Like, they had all three of them in the same movie, but they didn't put them together. They killed off Han. I can't remember what happened to Leia because I honestly can't. I only saw the movie once.
She force Skyped and then died because of it.
Yeah, and you literally had Luke at the end of the movie. He didn't say anything, but he was at the end of it. Yet, if they're in the same fucking movie, all they had to do is like run into each other at a base or something, and that would have been enough. I mean, you didn't even have to put them on a Millennium Falcon. You just had to have them in a fucking scene together at least, and they wouldn't do it. And now they can't.
Yep, they can't.
Like, that would have been the absolute last chance. But we're not talking about Star Wars here.
Yeah.
Don't I like it for what it is? Because, actually, it's better to approach it from the opposite side and say it this way. I don't like the Unification short for what it isn't. Because what it isn't is creative.
What the fuck?
Well, first off, what do you mean? Well, first off, define what you mean by creative, Steve.
Because I've never seen anything like this before in Star Trek.
Yeah, just I'm sure in some media we've seen like that a version of that hallway thing where Kirk is the three versions of himself. I'm sure we've seen other shows do something similar, but we hadn't seen that in Star Trek.
Yeah. And I assume Star Trek really hasn't dabbled with the concepts like the afterlife before.
Yes and no.
If it has, it hasn't really been that many times. Where it's like, it exists, but it's very vague on how it works.
Yeah, because like Deep Space Nine is probably the closest they've ever gotten to really addressing like things like religion and like actual supernatural, because it's very much implied that Sisko went to heaven at the end of Deep Space Nine. Bajoran heaven.
Yeah. I mean, most of Starfleet would say wormhole aliens when they're talking about the prophets, but essentially, with the species that has no concepts of time, everything is the same to them, and they're in another plane of existence in a wormhole, then one without knowing literally every scientific thing about it could say that is heaven.
Oh yeah, and also like let's not forget like Deep Space Nine's ending not being the best. Remember, Gul Dukat and Sisko had basically a magic fight in the core of Bajor.
Yeah. And they pretty much just could have said that they're the basically Jesus against whatever the opposite of Jesus is, Antichrist.
Jesus versus Steve Shives.
Yeah.
But yeah, the idea that this isn't creative, I actually think it's like creative in a lot more creative than what we got now. Like, only if with a fan project would we think to get the actress that played Sarek, and then also confirm a fucking fan theory that Spock and her had a kid during his time on Genesis.
Yeah, by the way, this wasn't done by an exec who basically has outrightly said that he's using Star Trek to push their narrative on a platform. This is actually done by the fans and people who actually care about the freaking franchise and what it means to everyone.
Yeah.
It isn't is something with a single artistic reason to exist.
What is it?
No.
What does that even mean, Steve?
Enter a reason. It now has a reason.
Yeah.
Just
The
the ability
reason-
to finally say goodbye to Leonard Nimoy. Yeah, that's a reason.
Yeah.
I don't understand what you mean. No artistic reason to exist.
It,
Here's the thing: the creator wanting to create a thing is already a reason for its existence.
yeah, like, not a single reason. How about we just wanted to make it?
If you want to say like no good reason, that's a bit better. But still, no, there is a good reason why it exists too.
Yeah.
What it isn't is a story. How do I know it's...
What do you mean? Yes, it is a story. Sure, there's like one line of dialogue, I think, and that's it. But no, it's a story.
So there's a recording, but there's no actual like live dialogue. There's actually one word. I think Savik says something, but you don't actually hear it. Where she guides Kirk over to the alien that takes him to Spock, but outside of that, literally no dialogue.
Yeah, and it's why the clip from Star Trek 3 is like life beyond death. If there is life upon Genesis, then I must go back.
Yeah, from death we bring life or something like that. But point is, no dialogue, and there's a whole fucking story in it that destroyed every freaking Star Trek fan alive. Real Star Trek fans. This guy is a hack.
It's not a story? Easy. To those of you who liked it, would you have liked it just as much if Kirk and Spock had been played by new actors instead of special effects recreations of the Shatner and Nimoy?
That was the point of bringing this together.
But to answer the question, probably.
On a technological side, I appreciated the deep fakes a lot more than Skinwalker Luke. Granted,
yeah.
there are a few times where you can tell the face isn't properly sticking to the model, like just in the way that it's contorting with the head. But
Yeah.
it's only minor technical stuff, as opposed to you can tell, especially like, I don't know, like the difference, of course, being between fans and the major multi-billion-dollar production teams and special effects artists is they're able to make it look consistent, as opposed to something like even Rogue One did with Carrie Fisher and Peter Culling.
Mm-hmm.
The guy who played Tarkin.
Cushing. Peter Cushing.
You are correct. Yes, Peter Cushing. I got the actor.
Peter Culling sounds like Peter Cullen, who is Optimus Prime.
So yes, with Peter Cushing, like seeing Tarkin again, it's like he looks like a fucking action figure. Whereas the technology is advanced to where we can finally start to really make them look like people again.
Yeah.
But even if they didn't use a deepfake and they just used actors that at least looked similar enough, but they were just different people, I think people would still resonate with it because the sentiment is still there.
It would still resonate, but it wouldn't just hit as hard because never, and I don't want to quote Robert Meyer Burnett, but this made you believe. Yeah.
Would you have had the same emotional reaction if this was Chris Pine and Zachary Quinto in old man makeup?
No.
Well, no. Well, no, because like the implication is that it's the main universe.
Exactly.
Kirk. But if you got different actors that at least looked similar enough to main universe Spock and Kirk, I think it could have worked just as well.
I'm not sure.
You would have just needed to have put. I think you could. I think you still could have made it work.
I think when you go in the realms of that, you're starting to talk of a Kirk. This is our Kirk, our Spock, and it just hits a lot harder. Well, that's my take.
Yeah, I mean, like I still say he's wrong. It maybe not hit as hard, but it would still hit hard.
Oh yeah.
Versions? My guess is most of you would say no. Of course you would, because recreating the Shatner and Nimoy versions of Kirk and Spock and leveraging the audience's investment in those versions of the characters is the whole point of the thing.
By the way,
Because those are those versions of the characters.
Yeah.
Retard.
Side note from that: what about if they got DeForest Kelly and got McCoy on there? That would be even better, because it would actually go back to Generations as well. Because the reason why Scotty and Chekhov were there is because they couldn't get Nimoy and DeForest Kelly. They wanted the original three, and they just fudged a few lines to make it kind of relevant to Scotty and Chekhov, because Chekhov went down to the infirmary or the sick bay, whatever the hell you call it these days, and he had lines because what was it? There was also Scotty where there was a line that Kirk said that with tap like that you'd make a lousy psychiatrist, therapist, whatever. That was meant for McCoy. So they mixed up a load of lines, and I think that would also fix that. I wish they would have got DeForest Kelly deepfake on there. I'm guessing they didn't get the rights to the character, or they didn't get the permission of family.
Possibly.
But it'd be great to see the three together again. But this works just as well.
Because it's not a story. What it is a stunt. What it also is an extravagantly produced bit of fan wank. It's mushy, pandering, sentimentalist wish fulfillment for fans with an unhealthy attachment to the characters, and it's an exercise in shallow, cynical lore baiting.
What?
Unhealthy attached. Okay. So, what is a healthy attachment to the characters? They
Being invested enough to where something could provoke an emotional reaction. Unhealthy is when you're just stalking the fucking actors.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wyatt would get this, but unhealthy would be Reginald Barkley in the holodeck.
Oh yeah.
This is just a very nice nod to what came before, and it's just like, this is the ending that we should have got, as opposed to what the hell ever happened in Generations.
Yeah.
For fans who are overly obsessed with the canon. Hey, look, it's Gary Mitchell. Hey, look, it's Yeoman Colt from The Cage.
I agree. I don't know why they were connected to this. There's probably more to it because I didn't watch the original series. Only a few episodes here and there, but still, come on.
Gary became a god, and it was a major episode and was considered once Kirk was played by Shatner, this is what was considered the actual pilot.
Right.
Who is bizarrely central to all of these Roddenberry archive shorts. Hey, look, it's Saavik, actually played by Robin Curtis. Hey, look, it's this guy. Apparently he's meant to be the son Saavik had with Spock after they had implied off-screen sex on the Genesis planet following Spock's resurrection. Well, obviously.
Would that have been inappropriate to have sex with him? Oh no, because it would have saved his
no,
life.
remember they gotta have sex or else they die. But I will admit, on my first viewing, I straight up thought that was Sarek. I straight up thought that was just dad. And I didn't realize that was even Saavik for a moment. I kind of thought that was Spock's parents.
I noticed straight away that was Saavik, but with Spock's son, I thought, who the hell is that? And then it was only until I saw either Nerdrotic or the Critical Drinker as someone where, oh, that's Spock's son. Okay, fine. I'm happy with that because that happened either in books or comics or something. That's a nice way of bringing that into canon. I thought.
Yeah, I think it's neat. Cool that Spock had a family. It's nice to know that he is a dad.
Yeah, why wouldn't he be at that scene?
Yeah.
Hey, look, it's this guy who was referenced in one episode of Star Trek Discovery as having crossed over from the Kelvin timeline to the Prime timeline, which I guess makes him the fucking boat.
If he can,
are you compare him to Boba Fett? Because Steve, I think you might not understand, like a lot of people, why people liked Boba Fett.
I don't think he hasn't said it yet.
I think he's about to.
Oh, if he does say it, then go off, King.
boatman on the trans-dimensional river Styx.
Oh,
or
the
something.
boatman.
Was the
Okay.
dude who played the human version of the Guardian of Forever not available? Or was he not a deep enough cut? And of course, hey look,
I actually appreciate the fact that they're trying to bring stuff from Discovery. As much as I don't like the series, what the hell ever, I don't understand how people talk like that. But I appreciate the nod to Discovery. Because they're basically saying there, just don't fucking hate everything they put on. There's some good stuff, I guess. Probably. I don't know. It's just bringing everything together. This is like the entirety of Star Trek instead of just your Star Trek.
I mean, it is a writing tool like any other.
Well, but yeah, and honestly, it's like, well, how are we gonna get this Spock and Kirk together one last time? Well, here's this thing that can cross universes, and he could probably help with Kirk with that. So, like, mechanically, you're trying to make it make sense as well, which is, which makes that moment of them at the end looking out at the sunset actually mean something, because you didn't have to just pull something out of your ass.
Also, he has actually talked, there's a whole video that you've done on Star Trek The Undiscovered Country in saying that they kind of reference the past but done it in a new way, as opposed to just do exact scene for scenes, which is one of the problems that he had with Star Trek Picard Season 3. Now, if he were to do the Guardian of that gate, then that would be two scene for scene for what happened in TOS. This would actually be a new way of doing it, because it wasn't there was nothing in Discovery to say that alien could make other people go to other universes, as far as I remember, just that he could travel.
it's Captain Kirk. Captain Kirk at 3 separate stages of his life simultaneously at one point, and he's going...
Yeah, and that's probably the equivalent of his life flashing before his eyes before he goes to the great beyond. That's one interpretation of it. Like, appreciating what came before. Idiots.
Or you could say that because he's crossing the boundaries of space and time, like, he's seeing multiple versions of himself throughout his life, because time maybe just time kind of stops being linear.
I'm sure that's the main, like, I'm sure there is some merit to the crossing, like, dimensions into the Kelvin timeline so he could be with Spock. At the same time, I much prefer the interpretation of like, this is just Kirk's journey into the afterlife.
Yeah.
And Spock, who's on the verge of death, like, he's able to interact with Kirk.
I mean, you could argue that when he sees Spock, that is the afterlife. He isn't seeing him just before he dies.
Yeah, that is fair as well.
Like, the good thing, one of the great things about this piece of art is that they don't answer anything. It's basically given this as a gift to the fans. You think what you want about it. Whatever you decide in your own headcanon, you can have that. We're not going to mess with it.
to see Spock before Spock dies. Hey, look, it's Spock! Don't get up. Hey, look, it's the exact same handshake they did in Star Trek The Motion Picture, because everything has to be a direct fucking reference to something.
I didn't even... It's two friends holding hands. Fuck off.
Yeah, and people can hold a hand in the same way more than once in their life. It's just a mannerism.
It's a friend comforting... It's a man comforting his best friend as he slowly passes on.
Yeah.
Like because Spock is like essentially half. We'll just assume that Kirk has crossed universes, or his soul has, let's say, or his consciousness, or whatever you want to equate a soul is to in Star Trek. He's going to visit his friend, and because Spock is almost there, he's able to see and interact with Kirk because he's just almost there.
Yeah, and at the same time as well, this isn't Wrath of Khan. He can actually embrace him this time, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, he can actually come. And the thing is, it's not like a sudden kind of let's be real, like not unnecessary death. I would say if I understand Wrath of Khan correctly, but like it's not sacrificial. It's It's not a premature death brought on by external circumstances. It's just Spock dying of old age.
I have been and always shall be your friend.
Yeah.
Yep. And by the way, if he wants to go along with the absolute scene for scenes type of thing, send me. I mean, I don't know if you've seen Into Darkness, Jake, but
I have.
the whole Spock shouting Khan, fucking hell. That took me about a week to kind of get over that part. Like, really? You gotta go there with that?
And then Kirk is brought back by a bunch of furry thingies.
By tribbles.
Yeah.
By a bunch of furry thingies.
Oh.
You just said what I said, Wyatt, but you said it differently.
Well, except I said their actual name because the tribbles like are actually from the original series, so it's like it's
furry thingies. Exactly.
You and I, Wyatt, need to watch Picard season 3 because they have an attack. They have an attack triple. It's fucking hilarious. It's so bad, but it's so funny. But okay.
I'm honestly shocked that neither Kirk nor Spock does the Vulcan salute. I think that.
No, but what is about to happen, I can't remember whether you show it in this video, Steve, but he does his signature eyebrow, which is just as effective.
Maybe the one truly impressive thing about this project. The amount of restraint it must have taken on the part of these filmmakers to not include somebody putting up one of these, if converted to...
To be fair...
That's not fan service. Like, so, the Vulcan salute, live long and prosper, that's not fan service, that's just what they do.
And also, if you're going to talk about this piece of art, which it is a piece of fucking art, this is about them crossing over. You're not going to say live long and prosper to someone that you know they're about to fucking die or is dead.
Energy could light New York City for...
Oh, and in Enterprise it was peace and long life. So, same difference.
Which would... That wouldn't work because in Star Trek First Contact, which is like the prequel to all of this, considering there's that Borg episode in Enterprise, they say live long and prosper.
Do they?
Yes.
Yeah. When the Vulcans
land,
down,
it's
it goes live long and
we're Vulcans, live long and prosper.
I didn't.
So
I know we just recently saw it. I kind of just glanced. I must have been on another planet or something. I didn't remember that they actually said anything. I just thought they just put the hand up. I don't know why I thought that. Okay.
10 years. Alongside all...
So Steve, the amount of salt you're generating with this video could fuel the oceans for the next million.
Yeah, try again, buddy.
No!
All the things it isn't.
Or it could be just enough to, use on a average American steak.
Oh, the amount of salt generated could melt Antarctica.
No, the amount of salt generated could actually properly feed the salt vampires in episode season 1, episode 2 of the original series. See, that's how you do
vampires? What?
Yep. And they make you look like they use image basically make you look like really attractive people so that they can get close and then suck all the salt out of you. That's why they specifically went there with enough salt tablets to last 3 years.
That's retarded.
It was the original series, and they were just now getting started. What are you gonna do?
I don't know.
What this Unification short is a digital effects demo reel. When I look at it with an eye for its technical qualities and only its technical qualities, it's a very good digital effects demo reel. The deepfake effect...
Look at fucking Marvel, who spend $200 million on a single movie or one tiny project, and they just literally put someone in front of a green screen. No other physical shit, or they don't put like cars and whatever else in front of it to make it look like there's been destruction all around them. Just literally in front of a green screen, and that's it. And then you're gonna say, "Oh yeah, that looked pretty good." Nah.
They used to put William Shatner's face on Sam Witwer's body is maybe the best effect of its kind I've ever seen.
Wait, it's Darth Maul?
Come again?
Sam Witwer, he voiced. Wait.
No,
Yeah,
so
Sam Witwer.
he was okay. So, as you said, Darth Maul when you should have said Starkiller. No, so Sam Witwer, for those who don't know, was he was the body for this project.
Oh, he voiced Darth Maul in Clone Wars.
Yeah, yes, he did. But so he decided he played the body of Kirk during these scenes.
So Darth Maul is Kirk. Nice.
So yeah, so they had. Well, it's because you can't just make a whole person deep fake out of nothing. Like, you gotta have something there to put the effects over.
Yes, you can. You can just put it over the model that you make.
It's realistic and expressive and almost convincing. The effect used to recreate Leonard Nimoy's Spock is equally impressive, and
to be fair, seeing Spock, I thought that isn't 100% there.
Yeah.
Kirk was
That's
spot
because-
on, but not Spock. I can give him I give him a little bit for Spock. It's still great. Don't get me wrong. But Kirk was better than Spock as far as the actual technical deep faking.
I mean, that's because Leonard Nimoy became an actual raisin by this time
Yeah.
he was playing the character.
Yeah, that's true.
and if the claims of Otoy and the Roddenberry archive are to be believed, accomplished without digital assistance. Apparently, it's just actor Lawrence Selleck who, with the help of some conventional makeup and prosthetics, really looks like Leonard Nimoy. The resemblance between the two men is uncanny, but I'm still not convinced there isn't some supplementary deep fakery going on. Either way, kudos for accomplishing your goal of making the dude on the screen look exactly like the dead dude who played Spock. As you might have guessed, that is my problem with the short regarding what it represents for the future of Star Trek and the rest of film and television. I know William Shatner and the Nimoy family endorsed this. I know
Then that makes it okay, by the way.
So ultimately, like, what this boils down to, because I bet you he's going to bring this point up in a few minutes, is, so to compare it to, like, let's say Carrie Fisher in Rise of Skywalker, Carrie was they used footage from Force Awakens and what scenes that she had filmed to sort of string together that Leia is there, when it should have just basically started with her funeral.
Mm-hmm.
The difference being with this is that the amount of respect that is being done for the characters. It's not being done so they could prop up their narrative and so that corpse puppet Leia could say a few lines before she dies.
Kind of like they did with Ian Holmes and Romulus.
I
think that's like the worst one that I've seen.
It's the worst one effects-wise as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
is credited as a producer on it. That's great. If this sort of thing is going to be done, it's better that it be done with the permission and cooperation of the people being deepfaked, or their family or estate if that person is dead. But you know what I think is even better than that? Not doing it at all. Personally, I'd love it if Star Trek moved away from using legacy characters altogether and focused instead on creating new characters.
This isn't about bringing a legacy character back because they're a cash cow. This is giving the original freaking characters with the least likeness of the original cast the ending that they deserved. Nothing more than that and nothing less. Don't know what to understand.
To play a little bit of devil's avocado, just a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
is that I can see the concern in the sense of, like, people are eating this up, and then the fucking people in charge are gonna get the wrong idea, and then they're gonna try and deep fake legacy characters into the new Star Trek shows to try and sell the Star Trek shows.
No, I get that. I truly do get that.
Yeah.
I mean, if they did another deepfake of, say, Spock and Kirk again, just for shits and giggles, and, you know, bring it into, I don't know, Strange New Worlds, for example, in the 3rd season, then, yeah, that would be a bit, come on, guys, just let them to rest. But this is literally just giving the fans what they so really needed, when it should have been the case in Generations. This is the respectful end to, I'm sorry, but like godlike figures in the franchise. See, these are the original, the OG, and they were done a dirty in the past.
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously that doesn't really apply to this, but I think Steve is kind of just making his point poorly, because he should have just simply said that I worry that the positive reactions to this is that these studios will learn the wrong lessons, kind of like how they learned the wrong lessons going back to Marvel with No Way Home and Deadpool 3.
Yeah.
Like, well, Deadpool 3 is a consequence of No Way Home if you really get down to it.
Like, I don't see what other scenario they would do Kirk and Spock again, but this should be it, and they should leave them the hell alone after this.
They should. I agree.
Played by new actors, you know, like it did when the franchise first expanded beyond Star Trek the original series in the 1980s and 90s. But if the creators of new Star Trek projects, or the studio bosses who employ them, insist on bringing back established characters from previous shows, and the original actors are unavailable or no longer right for the part due to age or whatever, how about they just cast new actors? It just might work. You know?
Okay, so
Imagine
he goes straight to Kelvin, which, by the way, did not work.
It didn't work. Plus, is an alternate universe.
Well, it didn't work because it was poorly written. Like, not necessarily because like the idea of new casting was bad.
Also, I lost my train of thought for a moment. Continue.
So, wait. Oh, that's Admiral Pike, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, Captain
Pike on it.
This
was
Pike, yeah.
pre-Cage, so this was pre-pilot. Well, the first pilot, not the second pilot.
Oh, that's right. Discovery gave Spock an adopted sister. I forgot about that.
Yeah, and they also made Spock special needs.
Well, I mean, he already was. He was Vulcan.
Well,
Yeah.
they gave him actual learning difficulties in this version.
Wait, like he has actual learning. He has an actual learning disability in canon.
In
Oh
canon,
my God.
in Discovery, and Strange New Worlds, he has learning difficulties, not just the fact that he's human/Vulcan. Like they
Yep.
Oh,
alluded to
not
in
just the
Star Wars.
inherent autism that comes with being a Vulcan. It's
Right.
just actual. God damn it.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. So Vulcans having autism is the human part.
No, they actually did reference in Discovery that even Michael Burnham says he's got learning difficulties even by human standards.
Yeah. I know. I was more just saying. I was
I
poking
get it.
fun.
I get it. But yeah, this is the Kurtzman Trek, everyone.
He's gone now, isn't he?
Who?
Alex Kirkman. He's gone now, isn't he?
Or
Kurtzman.
I think so. I don't know if he did last season of Prodigy or Lower Decks. I'm not 100% sure, but as far as live action's concerned, he's done. He's going over to other projects now, I think. Good
fucking riddance.
Yeah. As I understand it, the guy showrunner for Picard season 3, Tim Metalis, who literally got the whole crew back. I think Star Wars is trying to get him on board.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Deepfake technology was this good or better but a few years ago, and instead of casting new actors to play the legacy characters in Star...
Oh no, Section 31. He's doing Section 31, Kurtzman, I think. Which, thank God it's only going to be a long Trek movie type of thing, but at the same time, just just quit while you're behind.
Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Paramount had decided to just deepfake them all. Instead of Ethan Peck playing Spock or Celia Gooding playing Uhura, we'd have the faces of Leonard Nimoy and Nichelle Nichols digitally pasted onto the heads of body doubles. Instead of Rebecca Romaine playing number one, we'd have a digitally recreated Majel Barrett.
Again,
at least in that
work.
case.
Wait, does Rebecca Romaine ever age?
No, she doesn't. She's a goddess.
God, are we watching Punisher last night? The fact that they couldn't get her as Mystique in Deadpool 3, at least we'd have something nice to look at.
Yeah. And she was in Ugly Betty as well.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I get Steve's concerns where it's like, yeah, the studios, because the studios are going to be fucking retarded about things,
Yeah, but
might
studios
actually
will
start
always,
doing this.
studios will always be retarded.
But that's not I understand that's not the fault of the short film, because the short film just did it out of pure necessity. Whereas I can see the concern, but that's not a mark against the short film.
So Lucasfilm are a piece of trash anyway, but they had tried it with Luke Skywalker twice, but one would hope, God knows if the message will get through or not, but one would hope that didn't really work outside of the initial shock of seeing Luke again.
Yeah,
they did it a second time and it really didn't help ratings.
Yeah, because the problem with Skinwalker Luke is that they only got the appearance, not the character.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah, he's literally like
on a
choose
quick
between your dad or being a Jedi.
Oh, I'm not even gonna talk about that moment. So, like, on a quick side tangent, when he enters that room, like Luke Skywalker, galactic hero and potential Grand Master of the newly rebuilt Jedi Order, or rebuilding it. Cara Dune worked for the Rebellion. She should know that's Commander Skywalker. And also,
yeah,
Luke wouldn't just be like, "You're Jedi? I am." And it's just like, no, like, it would, like, Luke would come into the room, it's like, "I'm Luke Skywalker, I felt that you needed some help there for a moment," or something. Like the Luke would be present. He would ask questions.
Yeah.
And then when we talk about the Book of Boba Fett cameo of Luke Skywalker, that's not Luke because he just flat out is like, "Oh, you'd be giving into attachment." Luke, the galaxy was saved because of the love you had for your father.
Mm-hmm.
Stupid. Like, the problem isn't putting Mark Hamill's face on other people. The problem is, like, you're not backing that up with solid writing.
Oh, these days it is a problem putting Mark Hamill's face on anything, including other people, because he's a dick.
I mean, yeah, now. And it also, at the time, showed how low everybody's standards were, including mine when I first saw that, because even I fell for the Luke Skywalker scene.
I did as well, and then it was only like a few weeks after that I thought, oh shit, they were just jangling keys.
Well, also, like, to suck the dick of super duper ultra fan favorite Kyle Katarn, he should have been the one to save them. Like, it would have been a very odd introduction, but he's the one who actually has the closest ties to the Dark Troopers, because he's the one who originally stopped them.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you understand? Kyle Katarn isn't canon anymore, Wyatt. Wake up, the accident was yesterday.
They pretty much siphoned all of his personality and his stories and even his fucking gun to other people like Andor.
Mm-hmm.
Of the deepfake would be appropriate. Instead of Anson Mount reinterpreting Captain Pike and making him the best and most beloved character of the current era of the franchise, we'd get Jeffrey Hunter resurrected through digital grave robbery to reprise the role he played once, almost 6...
No, because it'll be fine. I'm going to say borderline fine, just doing it for like a scene or two, maybe even as a flashback, would be okay-ish. But even you would have thought that the studios would have enough sense not to bring these people and deepfake them for a whole season. It just wouldn't work. everyone would be pissed off by. I mean, everyone's pissed off now, but it wouldn't work.
Lord knows what that would do for the budgeting.
Yeah.
Again, could you imagine how much it would cost to have a full, like, in the case of to bring it back to Star Wars, how a full season with Skinwalker Luke?
Yeah.
That probably would, the dollar signs would probably be building up.
And you get
You're right,
overworked
Manuel.
editors, and you again would not work. I mean, with I know it's a completely different thing, but Cyberpunk has the fact that Keanu Reeves' face and everything in it actually done anything for the game.
It's been a major selling point. Like, a lot of people dug the character of Johnny Silverhand almost exclusively because of Keanu Reeves,
Okay.
which is kind of funny considering Keanu still can't fucking act.
Yeah.
But to Mayo, well, you're right. It wouldn't work. They would still try it.
They would, but I think, especially, and I don't really want to get political here, but I think now that Trump is in and they're getting rid of a whole load of DEI stuff and all the middle management in a lot of places now, I think the second that they tried it and knew that it wouldn't work, it would go away immediately. It would.
I don't see what that would have. I don't see how that have to do with DEI if you're just bringing back old characters.
No, but what I meant by that was what they're trying to do now is just bring stuff back just for the sake of bringing it back, and even if it doesn't work, they're just going to do it anyway to push their stuff. Yeah, and basically people are seeing through that so much now that, like, look at Disney. There's a load of stuff they're doing in Phase 4 and Phase 5 where they're still doing the same shit, even though people are saying they don't fucking want it. They even admitted the Acolyte, no one fucking watched it, but they're still pushing their shit. But
About Skeleton Crew, it does seem to be it seemed to be very basic.
Yeah, because there's no good writers anymore, or the good writers they've scared off because.
Well, no, I basic in like kind of like maybe not a good way, but in a way in the better direction where it's like, from what I understand, it's normal.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's normal underwhelming instead of horrendously awful.
Okay.
60 years ago in a rejected pilot. Does any of that sound appealing to you? If it does, I think you're watching the wrong YouTube channel, because it sounds like shit to me. It sounds like a show that would be nothing like the version of Strange New Worlds I've come to know and love.
Oh,
Okay, but
then you
that's
don't
not
like
that-
quality then.
Well, it's not even that. But that's not the fault of the short. The short is trying to do a thing that requires this. What you're doing is putting in a very possible hypothetical future where, once again, the big studio that wants nothing but money misunderstands why the fans love this thing so much, and then does this thing, and then people don't like it because, again, they don't understand it. That's a very real concern. But that's not Unification's fault.
No.
That studios are retarded.
Mm-hmm.
A show built around a cast of incredibly talented actors, many of whom are playing characters that were originated by other actors, but who have been given the freedom to play those characters their way, to do something new with them, to be creative. Without creativity and imagination.
Again, this wasn't about doing something that's new. It was saying goodbye in a really respectful way to what's past that should have been done right the first time. That's literally all it was.
And humanity, there is no art. There's just product. There's just content. I love William Shatner's Kirk and Leonard Nimoy's Spock as much as anybody. But that phase of the franchise is over. They made their show. They made their movies. They gave their performances. Lucky for us, they were recorded, and we can watch them and enjoy them whenever we want, and we should. But when
Old thing exists, so therefore don't complain about new thing.
And to be quite honest with you, if the original crew, including Kirk and Spock, had just ended at Star Trek 6 and we had literally nothing else, No handing off to generations. No unification. Was it unification in Wyatt? What was the double episode where Spock came into TNG?
Where it was to bring peace, like Vulcan teachings,
Yeah.
to the Romulans, and specifically the fact that they are technically ancestral.
Yeah.
Uh,
Was that unification?
I think so. Episode names like outside of like Best of New Worlds, Measure of a Man.
Yeah.
I more remember like the events rather than the name.
Yeah. The point is, if we literally had nothing after Star Trek 6, that would have been fine. In fact, that would have been perfect. You didn't even have to kill off Kirk or Spock or bring him back for Kelvin timeline or anything else. That would have just been a nice ending, flying off into the sunset moment, which they did. And that would have been great. It's because they disrespected them that we ended up with stuff like this unification.
When it comes to making new stuff under the Star Trek umbrella, let the past stay the past. Let the dead rest. That's not William Shatner. And that's
No
not
shit.
Leonard Nimoy.
We know.
Did you know that, Wyatt? Did you know that wasn't
Yep.
William Shatner? Or yeah.
I know. Yeah, it's like I know that's just Sam Witwer with another person's face on him. Yeah, that's not the
Are you sure?
point.
Are you sure, Wyatt? Are you sure? Can you tell what is and isn't CG? Do you need to take a test? I think you need to get your CGI certificate.
I mean, I'll admit if that really isn't a deep fake and is just makeup, then yeah, then sometimes the effect is just really good. I didn't know that wasn't CG.
But how do you know that they just didn't resurrect Leonard Nimoy?
Because as far as I know, we can't raise the dead.
How do you know that Hollywood doesn't have access to dark magic?
Well, I know they have like secret technology to drain the life from children, but that's beside the point.
I think it was the Adrena Metachrome or whatever the fuck it's called for eternal youth.
Oh no, I was referencing the Family Guy skit when James Woods had died and they strapped like a 16-year-old girl to a machine and they sucked the life force essence out of her to pump into James Woods.
Oh my god.
And there is this little thing in storytelling in Hollywood, the movies, TV series, whatever, called suspension of disbelief. It's great when there's a good story and a good thing in front of you because you can just get lost in it.
Those are masks placed over the faces of other
No. Sorry.
actors to make it look like you're watching your favorite characters played by their own.
You don't say.
Characters. What you're
You don't
actually
say.
watching
I mean, I would have never figured that out. Thank you for telling me, Steve.
Yeah, because we Star Trek fans stupid.
is a superficial masquerade created to exploit the nostalgia of fans who just can't let shit go. I don't know about you, but that's not what I want Star Trek or anything else to be. Time to let it go. Time to allow a new generation to take it from here. Create new characters. Give new performances. Tell new
But
stories.
that's already happened.
Create...
We've been doing that since fucking Voyager, technically.
Mm-hmm.
Even the JJ movies, well, they're like different versions of old characters in a different universe telling different stories, and there are different versions of stories.
Yeah, and I remember either someone telling me or reading this that there was a big uproar and people really didn't like the idea that Patrick Stewart and the rest of them started TNG. But what happened? They end up fucking loving it because it's a great series.
Oh, I remembered my point. It's like, oh, we didn't bring original people into Next Gen. It's like the first episode literally starts with Dr. McCoy blessing the ship.
Yeah, and we also had the original Sarek, again, Leonard Nimoy come back. Was there anyone else from TOS?
Scotty.
Oh, yeah, Scotty. Yeah. Oh, and Star Trek Season 3, not the character, but we had, fuck, I can't remember his name. Chekhov. Actor's name.
Oh, I don't remember the name of the actor for Chekhov.
Mm-hmm.
Neither
Oh,
do I.
and we had Sulu in Voyager.
Yep.
Yeah, but like we've been having like new stories been told since forever with Star Trek. Stop pretending this is anything new. Or sorry, stop pretending that it's like I just want to tell new stories. It's just been happening.
Yeah, and the reason why
What are you
people want to
talking
go back
about?
to the old stuff is because the new stuff right now is shit.
If the new stuff was good, then people probably would be not necessarily overwhelmingly clamoring for old stuff.
Yeah, look what happened with Doctor Who. I mean, I'm not counting in what's happening right now, but look what happened when Christopher Eccleston come back. No one was thinking, oh, what if we brought back freaking Tom Baker or Sylvester McCoy and all that? I want to see them again in this season. No, they appreciated that they did a new thing, and that was fine. It's like we know how to move on. As long as something is good, we'll fucking watch it.
I think about when Doctor Who came back in after, back in like the mid 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I thought you were talking about like when they brought David Tennant back.
Oh no, God no. No, that's why I just had to kind of put that disclaimer in. Not what's happening right now. Back when Eccleston was brought it back.
They wanted to bring Eccleston back for Day of the Doctor.
Yeah, he refused.
No, but he was busy. He was busy filming Thor
No,
3 or
he-
2.
No,
he had
no, he
reasons
wanted
why.
Stephen. Yeah, his reason was like if Stephen Moffat is not like basically the main director of the episode, then I'm not doing it. And it's like, okay,
Yeah, he did
we'll
this
see you
Oh,
later
together
then, pal.
where Billy Piper was there, and he basically someone asked him, what would it take for him to come back, and he says, fire the last of them, all of them. He doesn't want to know all of them, because what happened was everyone was doubting why the fact if it was going to be any good or not, whether it's going to be well received, and Chris and Billy was acting their hearts out and stuff, and they took all the credit out of it, and really did them the nasty. And no, and apparently there was some mistreating on scene and stuff like that, so he was definitely not interested. But if they brought new people in, he might have done it.
So you're telling me that he would have done it with Chris Chibnall?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
No, oh no.
Once said, let's see
If they'd done Chibnall, they'd probably give him a sex change.
what's out there.
Oh, that's
Yes, that's it.
oh well, that was shit.
It was.
I'm seeing the watch together playlist. I feel is there more?
I was gonna go into a lot more. I didn't know how long I had you guys for. I'm probably going to end it there because I'm going to do an edited video. I'm going to put highlights this in that to make points. Unless you guys have any final thoughts on what we just saw.
No, that was shit. My disappointment is immense, and my day is ruined.
If if he sucks, I want to watch his like praises of Superman comics because I want to see if like he praises it but in the dumbest way possible, or it's like Steve Shives is actually correct for once, which is
I will say I will give one compliment to Steve Shives in the like sort of from this like retrospect / hindsight being 2020. That video that's on the screen right now, like the why Jellicoe is actually a good captain. So in the sense of if Starfleet was considered an actual military, Jellicoe would be perfect because he's essentially not being all buddy-buddy with his crew. He's just telling them to do their jobs, all that kind of stuff. The problem is that Jellicoe doesn't fit what Starfleet is supposed to actually be. Like, I say that because I've grown to respect somebody like Jellicoe because, yeah, we shouldn't have families aboard starships. We shouldn't have like all of this stuff. We are a military, but that's more of a meta position. Mm-hmm. Within Star Trek, Jellicoe does not fit.
No. I mean, the only, again, devil's advocate with that episode is that he fit for the mission they was trying to go for. But if he would have continued after that mission, he would not be good for the Enterprise.
Then again, I think it's just weird that Starfleet's idea when talking about like negotiations with the Cardassians is to send Picard, this like 70-plus-year-old man, on a sneaking mission to like blow things up, and it's just like, why? Surely there'd be just a group of people of experienced away team
Special
members
ops.
that would be. No, but they don't have that because they don't have a military. So
Or
we
they-
got to send the captain.
Like, I know they had Beverly there because she had specialized knowledge of the readings they were picking up. But what I would have probably done if they needed someone to really like if someone who could easily handle the mission, send Data. If they had to send anyone from that crew, send him, Worf for tactician, and then Beverly for the readings. That's it.
That would actually be. That would also make that episode, like, I already loved that episode for the most part because of the psychological torture aspect. But imagine also that same, like, type deals, like, there are 5 lights. No, there are, my indications that there are 4. Like, you wouldn't, imagine trying to psychologically torture Data, who's just, like, who doesn't have the emotion chip at this point. He's just a machine. So it's just like, your attempts are, well, they're not going to work.
Yeah.
So that's all I've got to say. Like, it's the one, like, even as I said, I gave him a compliment. It was more of a backhanded compliment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, I think that's enough Steve I keep saying Chives and I'll continue to say Chives. But
By this point, you need to Photoshop, like, that him, like, is standing there on, like, that bridge thing. Instead of his head, it's just some chives.
Yeah, I might do that as a post to my YouTube channel. But anyway, if anyone liked what we said here, and if you've got any other thoughts for this, especially on a replay, Wyatt and Jake in the description below. Not physically there because they're talking to us right here. And you can
Get me out of here.
You don't know how I eat my breakfast cereal.
But yeah, I put the links in there, their @ and stuff, so you can go see the channels for Jake the Surgeon and for Yarp, the not another editing thingy or something like that.
Yeah, we're chugging away at Baldur's Gate.
I have a couple things going on. One, Master Duel Masochist. I play a children's card game on hard mode essentially. You just watched episode 2 is like been finished and rendered. I've just been waiting for a certain response video to be uploaded so I can show it, but I might have to do that after it's done, Wyatt.
So I also just realized I forgot to actually plug the most recent thing. We did a breakdown of season 2 of Arcane, and it should be releasing either sometime today or tomorrow.
Yeah, Arcane season 2 is terrible. I'm also working on Dragon Age: The Veilguard. God help me, if there is a god.
Have you finished Godzilla vs. Kong yet?
I am completely redoing that. Like, I just looked at that script and I've kind of listened to my recordings. I sound like I don't care, and it's like I don't want to. It doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound good. The script wasn't that great. I'm gonna completely redo it at some point. My heart wasn't in it, and I don't like making content where my heart isn't in it.
Mm-hmm. And if
anyone, I got a lot of things in the pipeline.
Okay. If anyone who subscribed would maybe know that I'm working on this little thing called a Mauler impersonation. That doesn't sound right. Mauler appreciation video, which is probably going to be longer than any video that he's done. That's probably going to take me another 5 or 6 decades to complete, but working on it. So please watch the space. And for anyone who isn't subscribed, that's happening. Go see the channel. See? Plug. So at the end of the day, it gets dark, and thank you guys for coming on.
It's no problem.
Yay.
Bye.
Anytime.
Bye.
Guten Tagen.
That's hello.
I finished you say that's hello. That's